am home. Syracuse 7-0 inside the dome this season. Wake Forest having already played one conference game earlier this season against Virginia, and it's the Demon Deacons winning the opening tip. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. Harrison along with Williams joining Spear. Harrison, the primary ball handler this season for Wake Forest.
Well, I'm eager to see. You're already seeing some switching on Jules Spear, but so key for her to stay active, keep moving in order to get touches in the half court.
As Williams knocks down the three and Wake Forest strikes first on their opening possession. For Syracuse, their starting five going with a much smaller lineup, a four-guard set. Fair along with Dyaisha Hyman, the lone returning starter this season for a Syracuse team, 8-2 on the season as Fair knocks down the three. That three giving her 250 in her career. The transfer from Buffalo, who has been a top five scorer in the nation the last 3 years. As Lewis with the foul, and Wake Forest will be heading to the free throw line.
That was such a big bucket for Wake. Why? Because they've got to convert at the rim. Hinds just flashes across the paint, shows the hands, and most importantly, finishes through the contact.
Demeara Hinds at the free throw line for Wake Forest, 8-3 on the season, coming off an impressive victory over Longwood. Meanwhile, for Syracuse, their two losses on the season against Big Ten foes in Penn State and Purdue. As Fair with the dribble drive, off the miss and the rebound.
And it's so key when you're guarding Fair. You've got to keep your shoulders between her and the basket. That time, Wake was able to recover and get the block.
Hinds in the low post, off glass and in. She's got the last five for the Demon Deacons.
And I can't say this enough, it's huge for Wake to get these paint points here, especially early in the game. It takes so much pressure off Jules Spear in the half court.
Here's Hyman with the short jumper, and she has an answer for Cuse.
I just think Hyman and Fair are the Batman and Robin of this offense. They are so dynamic off the bounce. It's going to put so much pressure on the Wake half court defense.
Yeah, to your point, they're averaging combined nearly 35 points per game, almost half the total this season for Syracuse offense. That one will stay with Wake with 13 on the shot clock.
And from Syracuse, you're seeing some man, but I expect to see a lot of different looks that they throw at Jules Spear in this Wake offense here this afternoon.
Spear with the floater in the lane, off the mark, into the hands of Hyman for Syracuse.
And transition defense is so key for Wake today. They need to make Syracuse have to score in the half-court offense.
Coach Jack telling us this week, fast-paced, that's the way they want to play their game. That's their strength this season. As Hyman with the dribble drive. And a foul that'll go against Samael.
Well, John, to Coach Jack's statement about transition, the bottom line is you can't scout transition because it's speed. As you see Hyman, this is what I meant the Batman and Robin. You can know that she's going to put it on the floor. You can know you've got a container. It's a whole nother thing to actually do it.
Under 10 on the shot clock for Hyman at the point. Fires it underneath, Georgia Woolley. Second chance opportunity, no, but a foul committed underneath.
And that pass to Woolley is subtle, but it's because Hyman put the ball on the floor, started to create, which forced the Wake defense to rotate to her, and that left Woolley on the backside open for that cut.
Georgia Woolley, who comes from Brisbane, Australia, last year's MAC Freshman of the Year, one of 4 transfers coming from Buffalo with Coach Jack, and that's part of the roster nucleus this year for Christy for this Syracuse program. Is there's a lot of new faces coming from different parts of the country.
Absolutely, and I think when you talk about having 4 Buffalo transfers on this team. It just helps Coach Jack and her staff establish culture, establish an offense, establish a defense, because they know what the coach wants.
Willie knocks down both free throws, gets it to a 1-point game. And we talk about the roster breakdown. You see just 4 returning players for Syracuse with those 7 transfers. On the other side, Wake Forest only lost 1 starter from last year, with 9 returning and just the 1 transfer, that being Nia Becker coming from Utah.
And when you talk about Wake, you're talking about nearly 90% of minutes played, points per game, as well as rebounds. So that also helps the transition for Coach Jebbia and her staff as well.
Hinds with the floater in the lane, beating the shot clock, and Wake Forest has relied on the play of Demeara Hinds this afternoon, as Alexandria Scruggs coming off the bench with her first 2 points, and a turnover on the other end for Syracuse. Wake this afternoon so far has shot the ball effectively, 4 of 5 from the floor. And one of the advantages, Christy, that you can make the point that, granted it was their 3rd game of the season, but they've already got 1 conference play game under their belts. It was a 20-point loss to Virginia, but a game in which Coach Jebbia told us that it showed a lot of what we need to improve upon.
Absolutely, and as I watched that Virginia game, Virginia, in my mind, is so similar to Syracuse. They want to get out in transition. They want to get downhill. And so I thought it was a great tune-up for today's game in terms of what Wake's got to do. And I think the bigger thing is they had 22 turnovers in that game that led to 26 points for Virginia, which was the difference in that game. They've got to take care of the ball, and as I said before, make Syracuse score in the half court.
Tie up underneath with the possession arrow to Syracuse.
What we got, Joe? Are we okay with 25 on there?
I think black got it, then white got it.
So we should have.
I feel like we're good.
But white had the ball.
Our officials for today: Joe Vasili, Carla Fountain, Meadow, Overstreet.
Watch it. Let's get up.
Syracuse likes to run this out of bounds play. Sometimes they'll go around and look for that lob, or they have Fair running in for the quick shot.
Mariana Lewis averaging a double-double this season for Syracuse, 24 in white. It's Fair looking to create. Crafty ball handler described by her head coach. Lewis, the short jumper does not fall. Harrison, that one knocked away, and a reach-in foul preventing the fast break transition for the Orange.
Well, Harrison saved 2 points there, but she's a player that Coach Jebbia said, we've got to keep her on the floor. She believes that she is the one individual that can truly try to contain Fair and her explosiveness.
Harrison called for the foul. That'll be her first. As we approach the midway point of this first quarter, great high-low mix. Lewis had to save it from going out of bounds, and it will go to Wake Forest. Demon Deacons off to a hot start. They've got a 3-point lead on the road versus Cuse.
Auto owners, insures your car. Because sometimes something from out of left field can literally come from out of left field. That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
Make holiday shopping simple. On Poshmark, you'll get deals on fashion, home decor, and more. With 9,000 brands at prices up to 70% off, you'll find something for them and savings for you. Now that's a happy holiday. Download the free Poshmark app today.
My hair started thinning in my early 20s.
I'm genetically predisposed, so we created Nutrafol.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement.
It's never too late to improve your hair health.
Get started at Nutrafol.com/man.
Fee-free overdrafts, early payday, no monthly fee. It's banking the way it should be. Chime, the #1 most loved banking app.
Why pay over $100 a month for cable when it's half the cost for Fubo TV? Get all the channels you want, with all the entertainment you love, for the price that cable can't beat. Try free at FuboTV.com.
Okay, let's be real.
Yes.
Most holiday gifts are...
Oh, it's not what I wanted.
But they don't have to be. Give Masterclass and give them thousands of lessons from the world's best. Your writer/filmmaker in the family, your soon-to-be CEO friend, you've got them covered.
Great.
And right now, when you get Masterclass for someone else, you get a second membership for yourself, free.
What are you waiting for?
Give one, get one free. Masterclass.
You're not just another policyholder to us. We remember your name. Hi, Cheryl.
He remembered my name.
Because it's your name. That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
At the basket. Pushing that cadence, finna get reckless, tired of behaving. You gotta love it. Let talk about me, let the gossip. Okay, if we got beef, boy, you better drop it. Yeah.
Get it again, to get it again, and spin it again. I'm with the clan and can understand. These aren't my friends, we all in the fence.
That's a three.
What a career it's been for Felicia Legette-Jack, not only as a coach but as a player at Syracuse, named the Big East Freshman of the Year, led the Orange to their first ever trip to an NCAA tournament. Her coaching career spanned stops at Hofstra, 6 seasons at Indiana, but most notably her 10-year stint at Buffalo, leading Buffalo to 3 MAC Conference championships. She became the first female athlete at Syracuse to have her number retired last November, and most recently became the 8th head coach in program history at Syracuse. I'm home. You got it because you earned it, Christy, and that's the sentiment that everyone around the Syracuse community has with Coach Jack being back with the Cuse.
And John, I'll take it a step further. I think throughout the basketball community, we were waiting all last year for this to happen because I think we all knew it was the perfect fit. Coach Jack bleeds orange, and she won as a player. She's won as an assistant coach, and I really expect her to win now as a head coach as well.
She was also an assistant as well from 93 to 2000 for Syracuse, but now in her first year trying to set a legacy with her alma mater. But early on right now, Cuse trying to come back from a 3-point deficit, a foul on the way to the basket. That's going to go against Scruggs. That's going to be her first personal foul.
Well, we talked about Syracuse wants to score quick, and there you just see Rice using the backboard to get to the other side and draw that foul.
Rice, the transfer from Auburn. Her career started at Florida A&M, was named the MEAC Rookie of the Year. Spent 1 year at Auburn and came to Syracuse for Coach Jack, one of 7 transfers as mentioned for Syracuse, as she knocks down 1 of 2 to cut it down to a 2-point deficit.
And you're seeing after every free throw, Syracuse extending to the full court 2-2-1 zone, trying to force a tempo, a turnover, but trying to get the pace up as well.
Turnover the second by Wake Forest on that full court pressure by Syracuse defense.
And there's different ways to press. There's trapping presses where you're trying to force a turnover on a pass, and there's containment presses. That time, 2-2-1, they were able to get the 10-second violation.
Syracuse's offense over 4 minutes without a field goal as Lewis stepped on the end line. That'll be the 3rd turnover for Syracuse.
Well, a couple times already, Wake's rotations off ball have been a step slow. That time, the double came down, and they were there perfectly timed to force that turnover on Lewis.
Spear 0 for 3 to start this game, still looking for her first points. Averaging over 16 a game this season and trying to work into the low post. Will stay with Wake with 5 on the shot clock.
And if you've watched Wake, you're used to them really getting deep in shot clocks, and that was just really fortuitous by Wake. Goes through Hinds' hands, and then luckily for them, Fair gets that last touch.
Off the inbound, Spear elects to give it off to Scruggs, who has 4 points on 2 of 3 shooting.
If I'm Megan Jebbia, I am extremely happy right now with how her bigs have come out to play today. both Scruggs and Hinds have finished around the rim.
8 of the 12 points for Wake Forest have come in the paint. As Asia Strong coming off the bench. And another forced turnover by Wake Forest defense.
And John, we talked about the difference in pace. Wake wants to control pace, slow this game down, make it a half-court game. Syracuse wants up and down, but when you watch the offenses in the half-court, both are motion offenses, both want to spread the floor, but you see Wake, not a lot of dribbling. They're really passing the ball around, setting a lot of screens. Syracuse trying to go one-on-one off the bounce.
Great pass inside from Harrison, able to find Hinds. She's got 7 points on 3 of 3 shooting this afternoon. As Strong down low with an answer for Syracuse to get it into double figures.
We talk a lot about the Buffalo transfers and Lewis as a transfer, but Strong's been a dynamic transfer for Coach Jack and her staff. Can shoot the three. Strong, no pun intended, but physically adds an element for this team as well.
That last bucket by Rice, she's got 3 points, but Wake, once again, Christy, has an answer in the low post. This time, it's Hinds again, who's got 9 points on a perfect 4 of 4 from the floor. Fair held to just 3 points thus far on 1 of 2 shooting. And the shot clock down to 7 for the Orange offense. Hyman's got to give it off quickly to Lewis. Meanwhile, for Wake, they have assisted on all 7 made field goals. And that despite Spear not having any points on the board. That one partially blocked out of bounds, stays with Wake. And coming up next, Louisville will take on Pitt this afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And then it's a top 10 matchup. We'll see Notre Dame going to Blacksburg against Virginia Tech, and then we'll round it out with 8th-ranked NC State hosting Clemson to cap the day. What a day, Christy, we'll see in women's basketball. Total of 12 games on the ESPN networks this afternoon.
Well, if you're a women's basketball fan, here's your early Christmas gift. I mean, if you're a junkie, just get comfortable on your couch today.
Williams traveled with the basketball. That's going to be the 3rd turnover by Wake.
But, John, the advantage for Wake is they have been dead ball turnovers, which has prevented Syracuse from getting out in transition. So if you're a Wake fan, you've got to be ecstatic about the pace of this first quarter so far.
And it was interesting. Megan Jebbia made the point saying that the defense was ahead of the offense. Well, here we see the offense right now setting the tone as Fair with an answer, her 2nd made 3 of the day.
It's so hard to defend Dyaisha Fair because she is so quick and explosive off the bounce that if you give her that step, she can just raise up and hit the 3.
And she uses that 5'5" size to her advantage. Coach Jack saying more like 6'7" in her mind, as that one partially blocked on the layup attempt by Scruggs. And this is what Syracuse Christie wants to do, this fast-paced offense in transition. Fair, floater in the lane, and she's got the last 5 for the Orange.
And if you're Wake, you gotta have your spider senses tingling right now. Fair is a streaky scorer, so next time you got to pick her up earlier and try to get the ball out of her hands.
She's got 8 points in 9 minutes on the floor as we come upon the last 20 seconds of this first quarter. Under 5 to go on the shot clock. Count it, and the foul. This time Hinds once again, and she's into double figures with 11.
Demeara Hinds came into today averaging only 5 points a game, but she's been moving so well without the ball, and she's been getting the ball pretty much at the block and able to turn and score.
Hinds, who averages just over 5 points per game. Her role has expanded into the starting lineup this season for Wake, as Cuse is going to hold for the final possession of the quarter. Long 3-point attempt off the mark. And what a start for Wake Forest, thanks to their paint play this afternoon. And this despite Jewel Spear not having any points in that opening quarter. It's been the play of Demeara Hinds leading the way for the Demon Deacons. And for Syracuse, it's all been about fair play this afternoon.
In my opinion, the advantage that Wake has established to this point in the game.
It's been the reason why Wake Forest has built up this lead. And for Megan Jebbia, she's now seeing second and third scoring options that perhaps she hadn't seen early on in the year, because this team solely relies on Jewel Spear, the only player to average double figures this year. Not the case this afternoon, as Alicia Andrews comes off the bench, misfires on the three. Syracuse struggling from the floor, shooting just 33% on 5 of 12. Asia Strong, the transfer from Wichita State. 15-foot jumper knocks it down.
This is the crazy thing about the Syracuse offense in my mind. They shoot a better percentage when they put the ball on the floor. And I'm not talking about getting to the rim. I'm talking about pull-up jumpers. They shoot almost 8% points higher than catch and shoot. In that first quarter, they were 1 for 4 on catch and shoots, which were good looks.
Great move inside in the low post by Hinds, who is closing in on a career high for her. She had 18 points and 10 rebounds earlier this year against Alabama. Here in this first half, she's got 13 points to lead Wake. But going to that point earlier, Christy, when you've already faced a team in conference play early on in the season, and granted it was the third game of the year that they faced off against Virginia, what kind of advantage does that play in going into a conference game of this magnitude, trying to avoid being 0-2?
I mean, you learn from, that's what non-conference is about. Unfortunately for Wake, you hit it on the head. It was their third game of the season. November 13th, barely even 2 weeks in the season, and they're playing a conference game on the road. And so the only thing you can do is learn. And I'm a big believer players learn a lot more from losses than they do from wins.
A delay of game warning issued to Asia Strong for Syracuse, as the Orange trail by 1 with this second quarter underway. Both teams coming in on hot streaks. Syracuse having won 3 in a row. Wake Forest 5 straight wins. As Harrison, turnover committed by Wake Forest. Both teams now with 4 turnovers. And keep in mind, for Syracuse, Christy, they haven't played in a week. Their last game was December 11th against Wagner. So they've had a full week to prepare for this conference opener.
Well, we say prepare, but it was finals week. And I think any coach will tell you this is one of the most dangerous games on his schedule. It's coming out of finals because your players have been fried mentally from studying for exams. And you just never, you need a little bit of time, basically, to get your feet and your head right again in a game like today.
Sanaya Wilson, one of the transfers from Buffalo, saving that one from out of bounds. Second chance is Fair on the misfire. Harrison driving the lane, and the turnover. Woolley gives it ahead to Fair. Woolley fires from 3. That foul is going to go against Spear, as Elise Williams checks back into the game for Wake. Spear, who last year as a sophomore led the ACC in scoring. As Fair off the inbounds, back ironed it, rebound to Wake.
I like the substitution for Wake. Offense hasn't been clicking as we've started the second quarter. Get Scruggs back on the floor for the Demon Deacons.
Scruggs along with Andrews, really the first couple of options off the bench for Wake. Somehow down low to Andrews, off glass and in.
I love Alyssa Andrews' game. I think she adds so much to this squad on both ends of the floor. Great athlete, can score around the rim, can defend. I think she could be huge for them if they could get the win on the road today.
There's nothing but high praise for Megan Jebbia talking about Andrews, about how the fact that she knows her offense better, meshes well with the starting lineup. Could be considered the X factor this year for Wake. Three-point shot up, and that one fired by Scruggs. She's got 7 points, and how about this? Wake Forest jumping out to a 6-point lead with a timeout on the floor. Wake Forest setting the tempo on the road, causing confusion for Coach Jack in the orange.
Since I was little, I wanted to be a part of a team.
Come here, buddy. Nice shot.
I've played just about every sport there is growing up. My mom's been there for me through every season.
We'll get him next time.
Mostly to keep me fueled and cheer me on.
Thanks, Mom. Love you.
Love you too.
It took me a minute, but I finally found what I love. All thanks to her.
You're always there for them, and we're always here for you. Food Lion, here for every moment.
There are all kinds of products in this world. Things that make life easier or more fun. But New York Life's product is different. It's 12,000 experts whose responsibility is to be there, to guide you through the happiest and most difficult times. People who know the most valuable things in life aren't things at all. This is our product. This is what we do.
Guys, let's be honest. Buying pants sucks. It should not be this difficult. I'm looking for that one pair of pants that does everything. These just came in. They're the only pant from Fabletics Men. 4-way stretch, done. All-way stretch, you're gonna feel the difference. The best thing about the Only Pant, honestly, everything. You almost forget about the deal that you're getting. Same premium quality as Lululemon, but at a third of the price.
What's up, everybody? It's Ray J. Raycon wireless earbuds are the perfect gift this holiday season. Our premium wireless earbuds sound the best, and they're half the price of the competition. Head over to buyraycon.com and save 15% off Raycon products this holiday season.
When the details take precedence, the rest falls perfectly into place. We strip away everything but the essential, and what we're left with are thoughtful bedrooms for modern living. Thuma.
Did I mention the Groove Belt is the best belt in the world?
It's the best belt in the world.
It's the best belt in the world.
I can't stop doing this.
Bro. I did? Well, did I mention you can get yours at groovelife.com? Do it.
The opportunity of a lifetime for Anthony Sinclair to do what was unthinkable months ago. Our national champions for the first time in program history.
To this point, Wake Forest spoiling the party for Coach Jack and Syracuse in their conference opener at home inside the Dome. And let's talk, Christy, about defense matters. Stark contrast for the Orange when it becomes a comparison in wins versus losses.
Well, I'm a big believer. I think their defense fuels their offense, meaning when they can get some long rebounds or they can force some turnovers, that allows them to get out in transition. And you saw not only the points per game go up, but also that field goal shooting. And you're seeing here, they are having to score in the half court, which has not been their forte, especially here this afternoon.
Lewis, short jumper, drops as she gets her first 2 points. Ends a scoring drought for Syracuse to get them within 4. And Dariana Lewis, one of the transfers, 7 of them in total for Coach Jack on this roster, coming from Alabama A&M off a double-double performance in that win last week against Wagner.
I mean, you might as well call her Miss Double-Double. I mean, that's what she's averaging on the year. And she's so dynamic. And it's not padding stats either. She's just a beast on the glass.
Williams with an answer for Wake. She's got 5. The lead back up to 6 for the Demon Deacons. Fair, give off to Woolley for 3. And the pass out of the hands of Andrews and a turnover. It gives it back to Cuse. You've got to be pretty happy if you're Megan Jebbia in terms of Wake Forest offense. 12 assists on 12 made field goals in this first half.
Absolutely, and when Wake's offense is clicking, it is beautiful to watch. They have great spacing. They read. They put so much pressure on the defense because of how they can curl off of screens because there's no traditional low post player for them.
Fair off the missed three. She's now 3 of 8. As Williams floater in the lane. And there is Lewis with the rebound.
So 2 straight possessions, tried to push tempo, they turn it over, and then that time a quick shot by Williams. I would like to see Wake get back into that more deliberate pace in the half court. A couple ball reversals before they look for that shot.
Strong, double team, kicks it out to Woolley with 10 on the shot clock. Goes with the left hand, and the sophomore comes up with her 4 points. First made field goal of the day. Becker, extra pass on the perimeter, gives it off to Andrews, misfires on the 3. And there's Cuse once again, a one and done for Wake Forest.
Well, that shot didn't go, but I thought it was a great offensive execution, a good look for Wake Forest.
As Fair knocks it down, she's into double figures with 10, and that is what Syracuse needs.
Georgia Woolley had struggled on the offensive end until this take. Head fake, which gets her by the defender, and then the hesitation. But most importantly, the little flick with the offhand to get the bucket to go.
And we asked Coach Jack this week, health-wise, how Woolley was feeling. 100%. She had dropped some weight after dealing with the flu, but she is 100% and an integral part to that starting lineup. As possession stays with the Demon Deacons with 15 on the shot clock. You see there Cheyenne McEvans, the junior transfer out of Buffalo, heading into the locker room. Shot clock down to 5. Williams takes it herself off glass, too strong. Lewis comes down with the rebound. Meanwhile, Syracuse 7 for 11 off the bounce. 3 of 11 when it comes to catch and shoot.
It just blows my mind on that one, on that statistic.
Samiel fights her way for the rebound. Here's Harrison going coast to coast, strong off the glass.
And Wake needed that because, John, the Wake offense has just seemed out of sync. We've talked about Spear hasn't put up points today, but she's been sitting on the bench the last couple of possessions with those 2 fouls, and the offense has just seemed out of sync without her on the floor.
Possession stays with Syracuse, and we've got a college basketball doubleheader coming up Wednesday night right here on the ACC Network and on the ESPN app. 24th ranked Virginia Tech in Chestnut Hill to take on BC in our first game at 6:30 Eastern. And then you're going to see Florida State hosting Notre Dame in Tallahassee. Final games before that much-needed holiday break for all the players and coaches. Underneath, Lewis fighting for the loose ball with Williams. And a timeout taken by, appears to be Wake Forest.
I think Syracuse got that timeout.
And it is Syracuse timeout. You're correct, Christy. And we will step aside. 2:26 left to go in the first half. Wake Forest with a 4-point lead.
You deserve a better credit score. Chime's here to help. Just use the card with on-time payments. You'll be happy where it can take you. Whoa.
Whoa.
Get started at Chime.com.
I said put me in the game. And watch me build a dynasty like Jay was back with Dane. Yeah.
4-point lead for Wake Forest. Christy, if you're Syracuse at this point, what has to change to try to get some kind of momentum back in this game?
Well, I think it starts right there. Catch the ball cleanly. On so many possessions in this first half, we've seen the playmakers, both Hyman and Fair, create off the bounce and make dishes to the weak side, because Wake's been a step slow on that drop rotation on the backside, but the players around them have not caught the ball cleanly and able to go up and score.
Harrison, with her second foul, puts Lewis to the free throw line. Great story pertaining to Lewis. Really didn't start playing competitive basketball until high school. And if you ask her, she models her game after Dennis Rodman. Her toughness, her competitiveness, all characteristics that we saw from the Worm in his Hall of Fame career.
She's just a beast on the glass. That's how I'm going to say it. And when you got playmakers on the perimeter, as I keep saying about Hyman and Fair, you need that player who can just go get second chance opportunities, and that's what Lewis has brought to this program.
Becker, the transfer from Utah, gives it off to the corner. Samiel way off the mark, and the baseball pass ahead. Fair looks for an open teammate, does so with Rice. And now the trap in the corner against Samiel. And Wake Forest is forced to take a timeout with 1:54 left to go in the first half.
And we have seen this a number of times by Syracuse. When Samiel gets the defensive rebound, they've gone to trap her and try to force a turnover or slow down the transition game.
Samiel, who has come on strong as of late as a scoring option. Take a look at the numbers. The first 7 games for the senior out of Dayville, Connecticut, 38% from the floor, Christy. But what's changed over the last 4 games where she's shooting nearly 50% from the field?
Hey, once you see the ball go down, that net gets bigger and bigger, and that's what we've seen in the last 4 games. But it's ironic because on that last shot, I was like, Samiel's a player for offensively right now for Wake that has to get going with Spear on the bench.
Samiel, along with Spear, each looking for their first points of this game, and yet Wake Forest has a 2-point lead. Spear back ironed the shot. Samiel with the offensive rebound and a fresh 20. The give inside, Hinds lost the basketball. Turnover number 8 for Wake Forest. Fair looking to create, gives it off to Woolley. 5 second quarter turnovers for Wake, and Fair taking advantage of those turnovers, the 3, as Syracuse with their first lead of the game.
That was a missed assignment. There's no way if you're a Wake player that you can come down to transition defense and not know where Fair is on the court.
Hinds trying to drive baseline, fouled up her own shot, misses. Samiel comes in for the offensive rebound, but traveled with the basketball.
You see just a couple passes, and you see a couple of Wake players yelling and talking. I think it was supposed to be Beckers that had Fair, and she's wide open for that 3.
9 turnovers for Wake Forest has allowed Syracuse to come back and take the lead for the first time.
Wake going to a matchup zone there, and we expected them to mix this up a little bit, but I also believe they're going to the zone to try to protect Spear here to get them to halftime.
About a 3-second difference between game clock and shot clock for Wake Forest. Wake, you see the offensive numbers, knocking down just 1 of their last 8 made field goals. And a foul that goes against Woolley. That's going to go for the first against the sophomore.
I mean, that's just the first by Syracuse in this quarter, so I'm eager to see if they might be willing to give another one.
Wake can hold for the final possession of this first half. Spear throws up a long three and knocks it down. It's not how you start, Christy, it's how you finish. And for the leading scorer for Wake Forest, her three has given Wake the lead at the half. Demeara Hinds, 13 points. And the story for Syracuse has been Dyaisha Fair with her 13 points on 5-11 shooting. The transfer out of Buffalo, who has been a top 5 scorer in the nation over the last 3 seasons, coming into this year for Syracuse. So a third quarter underway, Christy, where Wake, coming off that victory over Longwood, put up 33 points in that third quarter, a program record. Looking to have similar success, although coming up empty on their first possession of the second half. As the turnover forced, Harrison back in charge, leading Wake's offense. Beautiful view down low as Samiel off glass and in to get Wake Forest on the board in this third quarter.
Great job by Harrison of making the extra pass to Samiel on the backside.
Samiel with her first 2 points. Hyman, who's had a quiet performance this afternoon, misses on the layup attempt. Williams trying to force her way in.
And that's unfortunate. I mean, Williams to me has been a bright spot for the Demon Deacons at this point in the season. Another playmaker on the floor, sees the floor really well and has almost given up shots because she's trying to set the table for her teammates, but hasn't gotten a flow offensively yet in this game.
Off the high ball screen, there is Spear launching another three as she's got 6 points. And Wake Forest building up to a 37-30 lead.
John, I told you at halftime, hey, it's just one half. She was 1 for 5 in the first half, but look out because I expected her to come out with a vengeance here to start this half.
She's a 1,000-point scorer, but more importantly, she tries to mimic her game after Steph Curry loves to move, move, move. And we saw it there, knocking down her second three of the game. You had to almost calm me down at half, Christy. I was saying, oh, here's Jewel Spear, one of the top scorers in the ACC. She's only 1 for 5.
Well, you know, coming into today, I was really concerned for Spear. How hard was she going to have to work to get her shots? And it could potentially be a blessing that she got into that foul trouble in the first half and sat, to where the fatigue might not even be an issue at all for her, and she can continue to work through the offense to get her pulls.
Syracuse this afternoon 6 of 8 from the free throw line, but trail by 6 to the Demon Deacons, looking for their 6th straight victory. Hinds, good defense up front by Wilson. Coming out with the pass to Williams, and the bank is open.
Well, Wake got really lucky on that one because Hinds missed Harrison wide open under the basket. They were able to maintain the possession, and that's what I mean. They're always moving on offense, and that if you relax it all on defense, as we've seen today, they can get some really high percentage looks.
Missed shot, rebound there as Syracuse goes one and done on that possession. You saw it before, the difference in this game has been points in the paint. Wake Forest with a +16 advantage in that category. Samiel, long-range three, back ironed it into the hands of Hyman.
But I like that option, the two-man game of Spear and Samiel, because they've been going to trap, trying to get Spear to get rid of the ball, which is why Samiel was wide open for that three.
High floater by Wilson, off the mark. Wake Forest wants to push it forward with up-tempo. Extra pass to the corner, Spear. And there's Woolley with the weak side rebound.
I almost wonder if Spear was shocked that she was open on that catch.
Hyman blows right by Harrison for the made bucket. Hyman just 4 points on 2 of 6 shooting this afternoon for Cuse. And quickly, Williams on the other end with an answer for Wake.
Well, you wonder if this is going to be an offensive game plan for Syracuse now to go right at Harrison, who picked up her 3rd foul earlier in this quarter.
Double team on Fair. And traveling with the basketball is Woolley. That'll be the 7th turnover committed by the Orange.
Well, we've seen the game plan by both coaches. They want to make other players have to step up and make plays. And so whether it's trapping off the on ball, getting the ball out of Fair's hands, making someone else finish, both sides have it consistently struggled to make a clean catch and execute to get the high percentage look.
Spear at the point. They work it to the corner. Harrison down low to Hinds. One-on-one with Williams, or Wilson, I should say, and contact drawn. It's going to put Hinds to the free throw line.
Well, for Wake, one thing their bigs do is they will pin their defensive player underneath the basket. So as a defender, you have nothing you can do to stop them from turning and scoring. And why is that so difficult to defend? It's because they're not starting on the block. They're starting around the free throw line and then going down and burying their defender off the move.
Hinds closing in on a double-double. She's got 13 points to lead the way for Wake, along with her 6 rebounds. Knocks down 1 of 2, and Wake's got their largest lead of the game here at 9.
It's fair time. She needs to get a touch. I mean, we've got a lot of time left, but it is fair time.
The cliches we could do, Christy, today. That's a fair point. Fair enough. As Fair drives. Wilson, second chance off glass and in.
Well, why was Wilson open? Because 3 defenders rotated to Fair, which allowed Wilson to be open on the weak side.
Backdoor cut. Spear lost the handle of it. Ends up being a jump ball, and Syracuse will have possession.
You see Fair go off the on ball, and look, 1, 2, 3 defenders rotate to her. That leaves Sanaya Wilson wide open for that offensive rebound put back for the Cuse.
Almost reminds me of the Jordan rules. Let Michael Jordan beat you, or stop Jordan, I should say, and let everyone else beat you. And an offensive foul gives Wake back possession here with 5:20 to go in the third quarter.
Well, John, your comment, I mean, now we're comparing Dyaisha Fair to Jordan, but there were a lot of NBA coaches that had the rules, but it's a lot easier to have the rules than to implement the rules. And I think that's what a lot of defenders are having the same issue in trying to contain Dyaisha Fair.
Leading scorer for Syracuse this year at over 18 a game. She's got 14 here today. And uses that size of hers, 5'5", to her advantage. Again, Coach Jack telling us that it's really fueling her fire, that she's 6'7" in her heart. And Samael with her 11th rebound now sets up for an open 3.
Well, John, I had a little T-shirt as a kid that said "Dynamite comes in small packages," and that is Dyaisha Fair in a nutshell.
Offensive rebound, and there is Rice. And the lead is down to 5. Do you still have that T-shirt, by the way, Christy? We've got a timeout on the floor, 4:37. We've got a good one inside the dome. 5-point lead for Wake.
At the basket. Pushing that cadence, finna get reckless, tired of behaving. You gotta love it. Wanna talk about me, let the gossip. Okay, if we got beef, boy, you better drop it. Yeah.
Get it again, to get it again, and spin it again. I'm with the plan, they can understand. These aren't my friends, we all in a fan.
That's a 3. What a finish.
Auto owners,
insures your car. Because sometimes something from out of left field can literally come from out of left field. That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
When the details take precedence, the rest falls perfectly into place. We strip away everything but the essential. And what we're left with are thoughtful bedrooms for modern living. Thuma.
It's a fit Sunday. Get fit, get fly, get fresh. Athletic, you see the F on our chest. It ain't no difference, no days off. All turn to the side. Put your arm down. It's an F right there. Oh, watch out. It's an F right there. Buckle up, come here. It's an F right there. If you not in athletics, what are you in? I'm on one. I'm on one. Fellas, shout out to you. It's only getting bigger, it's only getting better. All right, I'm going back to work. Out.
Pants for $19 plus 70% off everything. Fabletics.com.
What's up, everybody? It's Ray J. I started Raycon because wireless earbuds are way too expensive. Our premium wireless earbuds deliver the best sound for half the price. You got me singing Raycon earbuds. And cut. Hey, at buyraycon.com.
Have you seen the new Groove Wallet?
It's the Groove Wallet. It's the best wallet. You should get one.
It's the Groove Wallet. It's the Groove Wallet. Get yours today at groovelife.com.
The women's basketball community lost one of our legends in the game this past Thursday, Billy Moore. She was the first coach to lead 2 different teams to a Final Four, the all-time winningest coach at UCLA, but it's beyond what she did as a coach. She was a coach's coach, the greatest mentor that Pat Summitt said she ever had, and there are so many coaches throughout our community that have been influenced by the great Billy Moore.
Yeah, Christy, she was a true trailblazer in women's basketball, and the Syracuse community also mourning the death of Louis Orr, who passed away this past Thursday at the age of 64 from his battle with pancreatic cancer, his number 55 hanging in the rafters. Syracuse fans know all too well part of the Louis and Bowie show with Roosevelt Bowie, 2 players who were just nearly identical in every way, 2 strong individuals in respective sports in women's and men's basketball gone too soon. So as we resume the third quarter, Wake Forest with a 5-point lead as the steal on the cross-court pass leading to a fast break opportunity for the Orange. Up and under, Hyman can't convert. And there's Scruggs quickly on the outlet pass. Harrison, no, fouls up her own shot, partially blocked there by Wilson. And it's going to stay with Wake with 18 on the shot clock.
I think both coaches in the last 30 seconds are just ringing their, well, Felicia's too cool for this, but just frustrated the last 30 seconds because you had looks at the rim. For Syracuse, you forced the turnover, were able to try to score at the rim in transition. You're not able to. And then for Wake, you can't make a cross-court pass against this defense of Syracuse.
Defense forcing Wake with 3 on the shot clock. Harrison with the strong drive to the basket.
And that's huge for Harrison. We just saw 2 missed at the basket a moment ago, and this time just avoids the defense to get to the rim.
And the reach-in foul. That's going to go against Fair. That'll be her first.
Harrison is so good off the bounce. She's crafty. She's not Dyaisha Fair yet, but she is crafty in her ability to get to the rim. And usually it's coming in transition, but she's been held in check for the most part here in this game.
And Megan Jebbia telling us this week that she believes that Harrison is as quick as Fair. The issue for Harrison, she said, is that the senior needs to be more disciplined when handling the basketball.
Absolutely, and that's why I think when she can get out in transition, meaning that the defense isn't set, that's why I think she is so good. It's still her ability in the half court to truly read the rotations defensively that I think will continue to get better for her this season.
Again, Wake Forest closing seconds of the shot clock. Summiel's got to force one up. Great defense in the half court there by Syracuse. Woolley to an open Wilson who can't convert. And those are the plays that frustrate Syracuse and Coach Jack.
Well, I wanted to say, they've got numbers, and they had numbers, but you got to put the ball in the hole.
Samiel launches a three off the mark. Hyman there for the rebound. Both teams
And
struggling
Hyman's
from beyond the arc.
Sorry, John, I was going to say Hyman's another one who, since that first shot of hers, we really have not seen her put the ball in the hole.
How about the play by McEvans? Back on the floor for Syracuse off the miss by Strong. She'll have a chance to complete the three-point play.
McEvans is so huge off the bench for Syracuse because she does a little bit of everything. That time just gets to the weak side, establishes great position, and just puts it back up and in.
McEvans, one of the 4 Buffalo transfers that came over with Coach Jack to Syracuse. And she's had to fight her way back from a season-ending ACL injury, back on the floor, contributing this year for the Orange. Here's Spear from the elbow. Too strong, Woolley there for the rebound. I always appreciate Coach Jack. I talked to her this week when we had our conversation, and honestly, I said, you're the most unique personality I've seen in coaching in women's basketball. One of the best, and the type of passion that she brings to the game.
Well, at media days, I mean, just watching her command a room, I mean, her energy, her personality. I mean, I get why players want to play. I was ready to run through a wall for her. And then on the other side, you speak with Megan Jebbia, and the same thing. I was ready to run through a wall. Just they come about the game from 2 very different personalities, and that's coaching. You know, you got to be you. You got to own who you are and how you want to teach the game. But you know, as we were talking about in pregame, I love the new hires in the ACC this year. I think this league made some remarkable hires, and therefore, I think it's a direct result of why we see this league being so good to this point in the season, and it's only going to continue to get better under these coaches in the ACC.
5th turnover committed by Syracuse. As you saw before, Wake's star and Jewel Spear now playing with 3 fouls, still on the floor. 6 points on 2 of 8 shooting as the junior forces the double team. Shot clock again down to 5, and Hyman bails him out with the foul. And that's going to be the 3rd against Hyman.
I was going to say, that's so unfortunate for Syracuse because into the shot clock, first of all, you never want to bail a team out. But you also had the ball in Scruggs' hands, a post player with the bounce. Make her finish off the bounce.
Wake struggling as of late, trying to find some offense, but still holding to a 5-point lead. Spear misfires on the 3, and possession of Syracuse.
I mean, I'll go back to pace of game. It definitely favors Wake Forest. Syracuse, on a couple of times they've been able to get out transition, hasn't consistently finished. The key right now for Wake is can they keep Syracuse off the offensive glass, because that's where they've been feasting this 3rd quarter.
Yeah, to your point, the last 6 points for Syracuse have all been on offensive rebounds or putbacks. As Wake, with Hinds unable to convert on the other end, quickly in transition. Woolley tied up by Scruggs and thrown to the ground. It's going to be an intentional foul there that was called.
Yeah, I really believe this is an easy call for the officials because you see Scruggs just wrap Woolley up, doesn't make a play for the ball at all. Great call by the official.
So what will end up happening is Woolley's going to get 2 free throws as an official review underway by our officiating crew of Joe Vasili, Carla Fountain, and Meadow Overstreet. 2 free throws, and Syracuse will have possession. So this could be a turning point here with 33 seconds to go as the Orange are trying to find some way to get the momentum back.
I mean, it's a 5-point game. Points are points. And so I'm a little surprised that Scruggs did what she did. I mean, I think she just didn't think in the moment. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure what the review is. I thought it was a very clear-cut call on the floor.
Home opener, tip-off time is scheduled for 9 p.m. Women's basketball will also be playing on Tuesday. It's going to be school day as the Orange take on the University of Albany at 10.
And so as the officials review this play, these are the moments that Megan Jebbia told us that we've got to get our players out of bad habits because we haven't reached that threshold of consistency. And that's a moment there where a mental mistake by Scruggs could change the momentum of this game in favor of the Orange.
Absolutely. And, you know, I always say this, winning is hard. Winning on the road is really hard, and that margin of error shrinks. And so, I thought Joe was going to tell us what they were reviewing, but I guess not. And that margin of error is so slim that you never want to give away freebies, and that's turnovers, that's second chance points. And I really believe like they're looking right now to see, was this an intentional foul? And I think based on the rules, like she didn't make a play to try to keep Woolley from scoring. Like she went, I'm going to call it a holiday hug. But it wasn't hard or excessive, and so maybe that's what they're trying to figure out.
So here's how the NCAA looks at intentional foul, whether it be not a legitimate attempt to play the ball, which you could say that Scruggs went right to make contact.
The ruling on the
Woolley.
floor is confirmed intentional foul on Wake Forest 32.
So there you go, Joe Vasili making it official, an intentional foul that goes against Alexandria Scruggs. That will put Georgia Woolley to the free throw line. We'll have 2 free throws, and Syracuse will maintain possession.
I mean, John, to your point, this could be that turning point in the game. If they can make the 2 free throws and then get either 2 or 3 points, and probably more importantly, all the momentum to their side going into this fourth quarter.
Intentional foul on number 32, Alexandria Scruggs, and second personal.
And think back, when Fair hit that 3 late in the first half, that was the first time that Syracuse had the lead. So again, Wake Forest has primarily kept the tempo in their favor throughout this game. Because again, there's a lot on the line today for Wake Forest. You never want to consider a game like this, the second game for them in conference play, a must win. But the last thing Megan Jebbia and Wake Forest wants to do is go 0-2 in conference play to start, both on the road in what has been a very talented ACC conference this year.
I mean, the ACC obviously did Megan Jebbia and her team no favors in scheduling. We talked about third game of the season. They go on the road to Virginia. Their second ACC game, now on the road at Syracuse. And so absolutely, and we know how good the rest of the league is. And so when you have a chance to get a win, especially on the road, you got to lead, you got to close it out.
Scruggs continuing to plead her case to the officiating crew. Here's what Wake's got in terms of their upcoming schedule. They'll wrap up non-conference play Thursday against Rhode Island, and then look, you go up against Pitt, on the road against Clemson, and Duke and Georgia Tech. I mean, it doesn't get any easier the deeper you go in conference play. Woolley knocks down both free throws, a 77% free throw shooter, and think about this, Christy, Syracuse can put up 5 quick points with a 3 and tie this game.
Absolutely, and I do want to give Scruggs my best. Like, I appreciate that she was trying to say to Meadow Overstreet, I didn't throw her down.
And the floater drops for Hyman. 6 points for her. And how about this? 15 seconds to go in this third quarter, and the lead is down to 1 for Wake.
And Wake's got to take care of the ball here. Get it across, and then take care of the ball, and at least try to get a shot off.
Almost 4 minutes without any points on the board for Wake. Andrews left open for 3, off the mark. And what a game we have in Syracuse this afternoon. Wake Forest holding on to a 1-point lead. Fourth quarter coming up.
Okay, let's be real. Holiday gifting is hard.
And it's not for everyone.
But what if you could get the perfect gift? Give Masterclass and give them thousands of lessons from the world's best. Your artists.
NC State 5 through 8.
Well, I think this just circles back to why I felt like this is such a big must-win for both teams. You know, for Syracuse, your opener on the floor, on your home court, you need to win. You definitely don't want to go to 0-2 if you're Wake Forest, because we saw their upcoming schedule, and none of those top 10 ranked teams were on that schedule in the next couple of games. So it's a gauntlet for everybody in the ACC, and the only thing you can do is, in the moment, take care of business.
And by the way, we also got Florida State in action against UConn right now on ESPN. The big news, the Huskies without head coach Gino Auriemma, wasn't feeling well during shoot-around, isn't coaching in this game. Chris Daly, who's 13-0 in her career in Gino's absence right now, coaching the Huskies. That game on ESPN. But what a game we've had so far between Wake and Syracuse. A 1-point battle and a jump ball with possession staying with the Orange.
Don't you think this is the way it should be? Conference
Absolutely.
action, you got two teams, you're going to have runs. I mean, Wake has led for all but a minute and 16 of this game. The key here is, can they hold on to this and finish out the quarter?
Asia Strong with the jumper, and Syracuse once again has retaken the lead thanks to an 8-0 run. And if you're Wake Forest right now, you've missed your last 6 shots, 12 of the last 16, trying to find some kind of offense to generate to get back in this game. Trying to go inside, Samiel off the loose ball tip. Off the give by Spear.
Right now what I'm seeing from Wake is players are standing. That time Jules Spears stood in the corner for the majority of that possession. They need to get her touches, and they need to get back to moving without the ball in their hands.
Woolley off the mark. And a foul underneath the basket. Keep in mind, Syracuse right now with Fair on the bench with her 14 points. But a 1-point lead for Cuse.
I got to believe this is just that, hey, this is the beginning of this quarter break to extend it, and then they're going to go back to Fair the rest of this game.
Harrison, bounce pass in stride. Samiel. How about that for a play by the senior? 4 points for her, but 11 rebounds has been key for Wake.
Well, I mentioned earlier that Kaya Harrison is best in the open floor, and that doesn't mean points for her. Here she pulls strong as a defensive player, leaving Samiel open on that left wing for the easy 2.
Scruggs checks back in for Wake. Woolley takes a seat. As Hinds as well, 14 points. Fair checked back into this game. And Lewis couldn't handle the pass, leads to a turnover. 12th turnover of this game for Syracuse. Samiel faces up with the basket, drives through traffic, but cannot finish on the layup. Scruggs had that one partially blocked. Hyman left alone, top of the arc for 3. Lewis skies in with the offensive rebound and put back. Eleven offensive rebounds in this game for Syracuse has led to 12 second chance points. And now a tie-up leads to an open fast break for Fair. And Syracuse has built up their largest lead of the game at 3.
Fair was being a point guard when her teammate was on the floor, telling them just to throw it out so she could get the run out.
Timeout on the floor. Wake has seen their lead evaporate, and Syracuse finding themselves with the momentum.
I wish I could say I didn't know how hard it is to feed my family during the holidays.
Hey, Dad, can we make cookies?
But I've been there. Sure, honey. That's why I love to give back this time of year. I know no gesture is too small, and so does Food Lion.
All right, you pulled that.
When you donate a Food Lion Feeds box, you're filling tables and hearts with hope this holiday season. Food Lion Feeds, here for every moment.
There are all kinds of products in this world, things that make life easier or more fun. But New York Life's product is different. It's 12,000 experts whose responsibility is to be there, to guide you through the happiest and most difficult times. People who know the most valuable things in life aren't things at all. This is our product. This is what we do.
Teaching her how to drive. But Dad, why not use Greenlight to help her save for her own car? Mowing lawns, getting paid. Oh, smoothies. Is that strawberry? Soon, she'll go from washing your car to flexing with her own. Even better, teach her how to invest in cars. Together, you can navigate the world of earning, saving, and investing. Because when you teach her how to be smart about money, she'll go far. Real far. Invest in your best investment. Greenlight.
I got this mountain bike for only $11.
DealDash.com, the fair and honest bidding site. This KitchenAid mixer sold for less than $26. This iPad sold for less than $43. And this PlayStation 5 sold for less than $1.
I won these Bluetooth headphones for $20.
I got these 3 suitcases for less than $40.
And shipping is always free.
Go to DealDash.com right now and see how much you can save.
Be thankful for the little moments, like a radiant color palette, the hypnotizing swirl of a recipe coming together. All that's left is to savor it.
Go to HelloFresh.com/TV18 for up to 18 free meals plus 3 free gifts.
Why pay over $100 a month for cable when it's half the cost for Fubo TV? Get all the channels you want, with all the entertainment you love, for the price that cable can't beat. Try free at FuboTV.com.
Well, what do you do when you're just not finishing from the field? You get on the glass, and that is why Syracuse has taken the lead here in the second half. Lewis, McEvans, it hasn't mattered. Weak side players have crashed the glass for the Orange, and they have created second chance opportunities, which is why Syracuse has taken the lead.
Every player has contributed for Syracuse. Look at the difference, though, in terms of second chance points, just 2 in this second half for Wake compared to the 10 that we've seen from Syracuse. And go back to that intentional foul that was committed by Alexandria Struggs. Since then, Christy, Syracuse has gone on a 10-4 run as Samiel with the bucket to get Wake back within 1.
I love the execution by Wake out of the timeout. So much more movement, and that is why Samiel was able to get to the rim and finish.
Fair with the dribble drive jumper, front iron, nearly tried to get her own rebound. Struggs, 15 on the shot clock, back up to Harrison. Harrison looking to create a triple team. Somehow the reverse goes down and 1.
John, Harrison took off the bounce, and I thought it was going to have to be a dish because she was so far under the basket. But the senior with the hang time just gets by the 3 defenders and gets it down for nothing but net.
I mean, that is something that she will be bragging to her head coach about after the game. Completes the 3-point play, but more importantly, gives Wake the lead back, 51-49 with under 6:30 left to play. Hyman looking to feed to Fair. 3-pointer, no, but how about McEvans skying in for the offensive rebound, and then it goes off of Strong for the turnover. 13th committed by Syracuse today.
I thought they were going to have yet another 2 points on an offensive rebound, and so much of it is because of the attention that Fair attracts. or the ability to create off the bounce that creates those rotations and miss box outs for the bigs and for the guards, actually, of Syracuse.
Spear, floater in the lane, no. Skying in for the rebound is Lewis. Her 5th rebound of the day.
That was great team defense by Syracuse. 3 players got into the paint, and they forced Spear to do that runner instead of get to the rim.
Hyman with the short jumper. She's got 8 points, and we are tied up at 51. What a game in the conference home opener here for Syracuse. And for Wake, they're trying to avoid an 0-2 start into conference play. Feed down low, Harrison, a triple team, but draws the contact.
John, since the media timeout, Wake has spread the floor, and they've been moving so much better, and that's why you're starting to see those lanes open up again for them to get to the rim.
Fair was called for the foul. That's going to be her 2nd. Harrison just a 52% free throw shooter on the season. She, along with Williams in the backcourt, have been the main distributors this year for the Demon Deacons. Knocks down both, and Wake once again has retaken the lead. Hyman and Strong. The mental mistake with the travel, turn the ball over, and you can see the frustration right now really building up for Coach Jack.
Well, and that's a play Syracuse runs a lot for Strong, just allowing her as a 3-point shooter to be the trail. And Strong was open, so I'm not even sure why she just didn't catch and shoot.
4th turnover in this 4th quarter for Syracuse as we reach the midway point of this final quarter. Harrison, ball taken away, and they're going to call another intentional foul, this time against Elise Williams. That's going to be the 2nd of this game against Wake Forest.
Elise Williams, number 21, her 2nd personal. 13
You see Hyman just shoot the gap, and yeah, Williams again. They're not making a play for the ball.
And again, look at the frustration there by Megan Gebbia. Those are the mistakes you cannot make, especially with the lead on the road in a conference game.
Well, learning opportunities. You never want to have 2 learning opportunities of the same type in a game by any means.
Rory 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Gets Cuse within 1. They will maintain possession. Again, I go back to that point that Coach Gebbia told us, that the key right now is getting this program and the players to get out of their bad habits. And we've seen a couple of them pop up in this 2nd half.
Well, and you could take it a step further. Don't compound mistakes. So don't allow a turnover to be compounded, and that's what we saw in both those situations.
Hyman has to throw one up. The errant shot gives Wake possession back with a 1-point lead, 4:40 left to go in this game. The majority of Wake's points have come in the paint, 36 today, closing in on their season high of 42. And Hyman pleading her case. She's going to get called for the foul. That is going to be her 4th foul. That goes against the redshirt junior.
I love a post player that calls for the ball. Samuel was about to pull that 3, and Scruggs was screaming because she knew she had the mismatch. She was screaming for the ball, and she draws that 4th foul on Hyman.
And that forces Jack to go back to the bench and bring Strong off, the transfer from Wichita State. Harrison, careless in the paint, leads to a turnover. McEvan's trying to force it in the low post. Strong couldn't handle it, and a turnover will be the 16th against Syracuse.
Well, Harrison over-penetrates on Wake Forest offensive end, and then McEvans doesn't see help side defense and tries to pass the ball down low with 3 defenders around the low post player.
If you're Wake, Christie, how do you play out this last 4 minutes of this game?
You want to make sure that Spear gets a touch, and I'm not saying Spear needs to shoot, but allow her to pull defense. But I love the movement. This is when Wake's been at their best, when 5 players have been moving instead of just standing around the arc.
They're going to get Hinds for an over-the-back call. The voice of displeasure coming from the coaching staff from Wake Forest.
Oof, I would have loved, I mean, I hear the coaches on that one. I would have loved to have seen that be a no call because I thought she went up vertically.
Now the foul trouble starting to creep up right now because you've got Hinds with 4, you've got Spear with 3, and Harrison is also playing with 3. As they take a look at that foul,
the previous play is under review for an unobserved foul.
We've seen some amazing fans across the ACC, and now we need your help this winter. The ACC Network wants to experience each sport from your perspective. So snap a pic or take a video, tag it with hashtag #AllTheDevotion, and post it to your social media because you might just see it here on the ACC Network. What a game we have had here this afternoon between Wake Forest and Syracuse. One of 12 games across ESPN platforms. We've got UConn and Florida State underway over on ESPN. We're going to see Tennessee and Stanford later today. Some great action. And let's take a look, Christy, while we can, at the play that the officials are looking at in this official review.
Oh, that little shove by Lewis is probably what they're taking a look at right now. Oh, and then another little shove on Samiel by Lewis.
It's what you get at this point in conference play. Emotions are always going to be high, especially when you want to really set the tempo well early on, getting some victories under your belt within conference play. And with how deep the ACC is this year, you really can't make too many mistakes early on.
I mean, and that's the thing. We can talk about physical play, but especially when you start getting into conference, it is about emotional, mental maturity. The little miscues can hurt you in a big way, and you know both teams are struggling to score right now. So don't give your opponent easy opportunities.
Our officiating crew led by Joe Vasali as he's talking with both respective coaches, Coach Jebbia along with Coach Jack.
There is no further penalty on the last play.
You see all the purple decked out by the fans today. Alzheimer's Awareness Day inside the Dome. And these fans have had a front row seat to a very balanced game between Wake Forest and Syracuse. Wake in their home conference opener, and for Wake after their loss earlier in the season to Virginia, looking to try to get their first road conference win. That one last off of Hinds, and it's going to stay with Syracuse with 19 on the shot clock.
Well, I was going to say, I didn't like that shot by Fair. I thought she forced that one up. But leave it to Strong to get on the glass. And I know Hind didn't think it was off of her, but I'm just glad she didn't pick up that 5th foul with that block.
Fair gives it off. Misfire as Strong collects the offensive rebound. Forced up the shot, did Strong. Another chance, gives Fair a wide open spot for 3. Trying to fly in was Lewis for the offensive rebound, and she hit the deck hard.
So happy to see Lewis get up. I mean, this is just how hard this young lady attacks the offensive glass. Hits the floor hard, but so happy that she got up and went to the other end.
Lewis was described by her coach as crying for someone to make her better. A 3.9 GPA as a biomedical major at Syracuse. Hinds hit the deck, taken away on the turnover. Syracuse wants to go fast pace.
Shot selection right now.
They get it into the hands of Fair.
Shot selection right now is so important for Syracuse.
Fair, count it, and the foul. What a play by the Buffalo transfer.
And what's the best shot you could get in the game? A layup. Fair, crossover, and then just uses her body to get it up and in, and her bench loves it.
Fair closing in on her 70th career 20-point game. She's got 18 at this point. More importantly, Syracuse has retaken the lead by 2 with 2:30 left to play in this game.
Number 32, Alexandria Scruggs into the lineup for the Demon Deacons.
Hinds takes a seat for Wake as Scruggs comes off the bench. Hinds playing with the 4 fouls.
Syracuse just making it so hard to get an entry pass down to the wing, denying those passes.
Harrison the give to Spear, step back 3, knocks it down. What an answer by Wake Forest in the form of Jewel Spear. Wake up by 1, Fair drew contact and will go to the free throw line.
John, do you get the impression how late in the game when both teams need her, it's going to be the Jewel Spear versus the Fair show? Spear came off that down screen. I didn't think she was going to shoot it, but created space with the drag dribble to knock it down.
Williams picking up her 3rd foul. Fair knocks down the first. She was an integral part of the success at Buffalo in her 3 seasons there. Averaging just over 23 points per game, was one of the top 5 scorers in the nation in each of those 3 seasons. And she and Coach Jack trying to stamp their legacy early on here at Syracuse. So she knocks down both, and Syracuse back on top by 1 as Hyman checks back into the game. Three ties, 9 lead changes in this game. What you would expect early on in conference play in the ACC. A turnover leads to a fast break. Fair, fouled by somebody else, should go back to the free throw line.
Well, John, one thing as a guard, you know that you hate to have smaller players defend you, and Fair just picked the pocket of Jewel Spear, and as soon as she got that little deflection, she took off for the baseball pass and was able to draw the foul.
Fair, an 80% free throw shooter. She has been named to almost every watch list imaginable. ACC newcomer watch list, Wooden Award, Nancy Lieberman pre-watch list. One of the most dynamic players to come to Syracuse in quite some time. Knocks down both, and the lead extended to 3. 23 points on the day for Dyaisha Fair, and Wake's going to take a timeout. So Wake trailing by 3. You see there Jewel Spear, who last year led the ACC in scoring. And take a look at the dynamic when she is good, Wake Forest wins. And in losses, well, Jewel has her issues.
Well, and a lot of it's how defenses are playing her. We saw a couple possessions ago just totally trying to face guard and deny her from getting the touch and making her work so hard. I really want to see here out of the timeout, Spear come off a couple of screens. Don't make her have to create off the bounce. Allow her teammates to get her open off of those down screens. And what I really like is when she curls off the down screens.
Last 90 seconds to play out of the timeout. Williams too strong. And Syracuse, with time on their side, can pad this lead. Fair with 9 points in this fourth quarter. Wake is a team with 12 as the give off. Rice, no, but they're strong with an offensive rebound, leads to a second chance.
I mentioned a moment ago, shot selection was going to be everything. I wasn't a big fan of this three being put up, but you know what? When you got someone like Strong to get on the glass, any shot's a good shot because she and her teammates have been so good on the offensive glass here this second half.
16 second chance points for Syracuse today compared to just 2 for Wake Forest. That has been the story, especially in this second half. Along with the play of Dyaisha Fair, 23 points. "18 offensive rebounds have led to 16 second chance points for Syracuse. A stark contrast to what we've seen from Wake Forest in this game. Under a minute to play, 5-point lead for the Orange. Williams, no. Into the hands of Strong, and she is quickly fouled.
So to me, the two stats that really stick out to me in this game are, to this point in the game, Wake Forest is 17 of 31 on layups. So you just saw Williams miss that one at the rim. But that's 14 missed gimmies in this game. And then just how they're not getting their body into the Syracuse players on the defensive end. Syracuse has just been more physical on the offensive glass, and it's why they've dominated with those 16 second chance points. Excuse me, 18 second chance points.
Strong, the Wichita State transfer, knocks down both free throws. Largest lead for the Orange at 63-56. Looking to improve to 8-0 inside the Dome this year. Demeara fires off a three, no. I thought it was interesting talking with Coach Jack this week, Christy, about the fact that in her first season with Syracuse, she's never played at Louisville. She hasn't played at Virginia Tech. She played Duke once before, and this is a real journey for her. And this is the way that she wants to start off conference play, with a win on your own home floor.
In so many ways, because I expect them to continue the next 28 seconds to get this win. This win really personifies Coach Jack. Nothing really went the way they wanted it to early, but they stayed true to who they were, and they just worked. That workmanlike mentality. They got on the glass, they got the big stops that they needed, and they're going to find a way to pull out the W.
She said there's nothing to lose, no pressure on us. We just stay in our foxhole, and good things will come our way. But you have to believe that for a person of her caliber, for what she brought as a player to Syracuse, an NCAA tournament berth, a Big East championship, there's got to be a lot of satisfaction about the fact that you can hold on for a victory at home in your home conference opener in your first year.
You've got 48 hours to visit a participating Taco Bell location and claim your free Cochi Beef taco.
So a timeout on the floor taken by Wake Forest. And again, the journey's been a long one for Coach Jack. Stops at Hofstra and Indiana. Had a great 10-year run with Buffalo. Got the call. Said this week that she was very emotional, had to sit down after the job was offered her way. And she obviously wants great things to happen for her alma mater, but this would be a very strong win for her, and certainly one that can carry momentum further down the conference schedule.
Well, anybody who's known Felicia just knows she's a winner. Her personality just makes people gravitate to her. And I truly believe she's going to get this rolling in the right direction at Syracuse. Why? Because of how she teaches the game. One thing that she said to us that really resonated with me is you win or you learn. There is no losing. You win or you learn. And I felt like there were so many lessons learned by Syracuse in that first half. And they just kept applying. And at some point, they're like, let's get back to being us. And that was work. And they got on the glass, and they created easy scoring opportunities when the offense really was a struggle for the most part today.
And the relationship that she has with her players, her home 3 miles away from where her players are at the apartments. And no doubt Syracuse had to fight their way through some adversity in this game. But nonetheless, they're going to come away with a victory on their home court in year number 1 for Coach Jack. And you see that kind of personality, that kind of fire that comes from a former player.
Absolutely. As I said, she bleeds orange. And, you know, if you're Wake, you started off ACC play 2 on the road. And I can honestly say, watching them from the Virginia loss to the games preceding today, this team is getting better. And it's still a new system. It's all on both ends of the floor. And we saw a number of defensive breakdowns for Wake today that are fixable offensively. It's fixable. You know, they've got to get to where they can continue to move in this motion offense for 40 minutes, especially when Spear is struggling to put up big points.
Meanwhile, for Fair, 11 of her 25 coming in the fourth quarter. Harrison with an answer, but Syracuse, who's got UAlbany at Louisville and NC State coming up on the schedule, will get conference win number 1 on their home floor. Had to fight through some adversity, fight their way back, but nonetheless, Coach Jack and the Orange come away with a 67-58 victory. For Christy Thomas-Gutty and our incredible ESPN crew, I'm John Brickley. Thanks so much. Syracuse improving to 9-2 with the 67-58 win as we say goodbye, and we send it over to Louisville and Pitt as we continue on the